Hello, dreamers, and welcome back to Into the Dreamscape. I'm your host, William Copper. Before we get into tonight's episode, are you an on the go professional? This episode's sponsor, Ramble Office Anywhere, offers their destination travel trunk to keep your essentials organized, your gear protected, and your productivity maximized. Travel everywhere and work anywhere. Visit rambleofficeanywhere.com and use code IDS to take 5% off your total purchase. Visit now until February 20th, 2026 to take an extra 25% off. Now, on to episode 2. I see you. Growing up in a quiet rural town has its perks. Minimal traffic, neighbors who won't see you pissing off your doorstep, and little light pollution to stargaze through the night. Because the town is so rural, it's rarely mentioned that everyone knows everyone, or at least that's what you're led to believe. It was a normal day at work, or so it seemed. I spent the whole day banished to the pots and pans station, basically slow roasting beside a mini volcano that refused to clock out. It also didn't help that it was mid-July, and the humidity was enough to make skin stick to places it really shouldn't. There was an upside to this, however. I didn't have to leave the kitchen to walk in the busy, warm halls of the facility. Oftentimes, it was led with fake smiles or an extremely forced hello. There were times, like today, I would rather stay in the kitchen. It was nearing the end of the day, the cooks had already left, and my other co-workers were in the scrap room or putting dishes away, leaving me to myself in the pots and pans area. I was working at a steady pace, listening to our local hard rock station, zoning into the beats, when I noticed something out of the corner of my eye. Near the end of the machine, where the clean pans would come off, were several racks that held various cookware. Due to the heat wave we were having, vast amounts of steam were exiting the end of the machine. I thought I saw someone taking the clean pans off the end of the line, putting them onto one of the racks, which I thought, "Oh, that's great. Maybe they got done early in the dish room but decided to help me." I turned my head to say thank you, but as I turned, no one was there. That's odd, I thought. I swear I saw someone there. Maybe this heat was getting to me. I mean, I have been at the station all day. Yeah, that's it. The heat was causing me to slightly hallucinate. I went to go grab my water, which I had placed on a cart next to where the wash sink was, but it wasn't there. Did I drink it? Did one of my co-workers, who often plays tricks on me, move it? I went around the corner to where a drink station was, and there it was, sitting on a shelf below the water dispenser. I picked it up, took a drink, and then went to place it back down, when I noticed that same person out of the corner of my eye, yet again, this time near the serving line where the cooks work. I quickly turned my head, slightly hurting my neck when I did, and no one was there. What the fuck? I saw a co-worker nonchalantly standing around and yelled to him nicely, "Hey! Since you're just standing there, would you give me a hand putting away the pots and pans so we can leave at a good time?" They sighed heavily but came over to help me out. With their help, we were done in about 10 minutes. Most nights, everyone uses the same back stairwell to exit the building, but for whatever reason, I chose to go the opposite way. To this day, I wish I had gone the normal way. As I made my way to the front stairwell, something felt off. The stairwell made a C shape, where you couldn't see the landing until you were down the middle part of the stairs. I slowly descended from the second floor down to where the stairs meet halfway between the floors. As I rounded the corner, I saw that face again, this time in full view, for about 2 seconds, before it slipped behind the corner. That felt like the longest 2 seconds of my life. I made a mental image of what I saw. A young man with black hair, brown eyes, and a very odd grin. I proceeded carefully to fully descend the stairwell, and like before, nothing was there. I walked out the front door of the building and quickly made my way to the parking lot. I got in my car, locked the door immediately, and drove home so fast that I couldn't remember if I had stopped at the stop sign. Luckily, being in this small town, there isn't much traffic when I get out of work. Once I was inside, I locked the door, turned on every light near me, and opened my laptop. Still having the image of that face fresh in my mind, I went to my preferred search engine and started typing in what I saw. What was interesting was that the first result was exactly what I was looking for. The person I saw was Joseph Fredrickson, a man who died several years ago. I didn't recognize him at all, and as I said before, this was a tight-knit little town, so this seemed bizarre. Reading more about how he died, it started to make more sense. Apparently, he was found dead at the unloading end of the pots and pans machine, mangled after being caught in the automatic belt that pushes the pans through the machine. Why was I seeing him, though? Why now, after all this time of working there? Still being spooked, I decided to sleep downstairs that night, of course, with every light on in the house. I barely slept, though. When I fell asleep, I'd instantly see Joseph's face. The final time I nodded off, I saw him, but this time he spoke. "I see you." I had to go to work, although I knew it was going to be torture with the lack of sleep. When I arrived, I immediately went to the manager's office and asked about Joseph. "Close the door behind you," Marla said. Joseph was an employee here about 15 years ago. He did live here, but he was a hermit and an introvert, which is why I couldn't recognize him. I was surprised to see his address was just on the outskirts of town. Marla continued. Joseph began to slowly come out of his shell, being a little more friendly with his coworkers and even playing games in the kitchen. One game he really enjoyed was hide and seek, which we all thought nothing of at the time. Whenever he found you, he would whisper, "I see you." That sent immediate shivers down my spine. I said, "According to the article I read on him, it stated he died from being mangled by the pots and pans machine?" Marla nodded. "Yes, that part is true. It was the end of the night, and there was some downtime before the shift ended, so he wanted to play hide and seek. He asked us to go into the break room while he found a good hiding spot. That night still haunts me." Marla got up from her chair and went to the window and looked out. She went on, "I tell you, that guy really knew how to hide. We searched high and low throughout the entire kitchen with no luck. One place we had yet to check was the pots and pans machine, because who would be crazy enough to hide in that contraption? We were so wrong. So very wrong. One of the employees accidentally pressed the starting mechanism, and all that could be heard were screams and the crushing of bones." She turned around, eyes full of tears, and then suddenly struck with fear. Her mouth moved slowly, but nothing could be heard. She put up her hand and pointed behind me. I slowly turned my head to the right, and there he was, Joseph, everything mangled except his face. "I see you." And that was called I See You. Was this a story? Was this a dream? That's up to you to decide, dreamer. Thank you all for listening to this podcast. I hope you have a wonderful evening.